I don't normally tell this story because even thinking about it gives me chills and a deep sense of unease. Although it happened a few years ago, in October 2019, it still makes walking alone give me chills. At the time, I was 17 and living in a pretty big city. That night, I was visiting a friend in a smaller town nearby. She had picked me up from my house earlier in the day because we had planned to go to my boyfriend's football game. When we got to her house, though, she started feeling unwell and decided not to go. Since I didn't have my car, I asked if I could borrow hers, but she insisted on dropping me off and picking me up after the game instead. The game itself was fun. I cheered on my boyfriend and stayed afterward to take pictures with him. By the time I was ready to leave, I realized I hadn't texted my friend to pick me up earlier. I sent her a message, but after a few minutes with no response, I called her. Still no answer. I assumed she'd fallen asleep and kept trying to get through. When it became clear she wasn't waking up, I called my boyfriend, hoping he could give me a ride to her house. He said his car was full, and it would take a while for him to get back to me. Frustrated and cold, I decided I would just walk to my friend's house, which was only about 15 to 20 minutes away. I knew the way and figured it was the best option time-wise. As I walked, I couldn't shake a strange feeling. The streets were quiet, but it was cold. The kind of cold that motivates you to walk faster. After a few blocks, I noticed someone walking behind me on the opposite side of the street. They weren't running or doing anything suspicious, but something about their presence made me paranoid. I quickened my pace, glancing over my shoulder every so often. They seemed to be keeping up with me. At the next intersection, I was about to cross the street when I heard someone call my name. "Kiara?" Startled, I turned around and saw it was a girl. She was close enough now that I could make out her face, but I didn't recognize her. Confused, I asked, "Do I know you?" She smiled and said, "No, but I know you. Your boyfriend posts you on Instagram." That comment caught me off guard. I replied, "Oh yeah, that's me," trying to act casual. Then she asked, "Where is he?" I lied, saying, "He's giving some friends a ride but will pick me up soon." She smiled knowingly and said, "If he was coming to get you, why would you be walking?" I brushed her off, saying I'd told him I'd meet him at my friend's house. She then offered to give me a ride, which I politely declined. She laughed again and said, "Come on, I live just up the street. It's no trouble." Her persistence was unsettling, but something about her seemed genuine. After another attempt to call my boyfriend with no luck, I decided maybe I was being too paranoid. The cold and my frustration got the better of me, so I agreed. "What's your name?" I asked. She said it was Kaylee. We walked for a bit, chatting, and I began to relax. She seemed normal enough, but as we got closer to where she said she lived, things got weird. She led me toward a wooded area and pointed to a trail. "My house is just around this bend," she said. I stopped in my tracks. The trail didn't look like a driveway. It was narrow, more like a path for off-road vehicles. "Are you kidding?" I asked. Her demeanor changed instantly. "Does it look like I'm kidding?" she snapped, grabbing my arm and trying to pull me toward the trail. I yanked my arm free, but when I did, my phone slipped out of my hand and into the brush. She noticed and smirked. "Go ahead. Call for help," she said. "Oh wait, you don't have your phone now, do you?" The realization that I was alone, without my phone, hit me like a ton of bricks. I told her to back off, and that I would call the police if she touched me again. She laughed. "With what phone?" I tried to keep my eyes on her while inching toward where I thought my phone had fallen. She stepped in front of me, blocking my path. "Let's just go to my house," she said. "We'll find your phone later." I refused, repeatedly asking her to move. Then she began ranting about my boyfriend, saying I didn't deserve him and that this was all my fault. That's when it clicked. This wasn't random. This was about my boyfriend. She knew who I was, and clearly didn't like me being with him. My stomach churned with fear. Something was very wrong. Desperate, I decided my phone wasn't worth it and started walking back toward the street. Just as I reached the edge of the trail, headlights appeared in the distance. My friend's car. Relief flooded over me as I ran into the middle of the road, waving my arms. She stopped, rolled down the window, and asked why I hadn't been answering my phone. I quickly explained what happened. When I looked back, Kaylee was gone. She must have run back into the woods. After my friend helped me find my phone, we left and asked if she knew a Kaylee, and she didn't, and either did my boyfriend.